Greetings in the best of health. Health that would be prayer, power, peace, patience, and prosperity. I'm going to share something that has been or was therapeutic or helpful for me from some material that I have put together based upon what I have experienced in my years on this plane of existence, or the energies that I have the energy that I have displayed and the energies that I have came in contact with when it comes to this atmosphere in human or social interactions. I am going to be reading from this particular book, Integrated Principles and Standards Philosophical Therapeutic Thoughts of Expression. Something I wanted to say from within, but I just did not express it. Chapter 9. How can I change my reality? When I think of reality, I think of that which is royal, associated with royalty. And royalty is real, meaning how one treats him or herself and how we treat each other. For me, the word how is always in the process. Change, I've come to conclude that it is a product of human effort. And that effort must be synthesized unto a useful purpose. Anytime someone does any type of monetary exchange, they want change back. Exchange of energy, interactions, and associated with currency. How do I change? Or what brings about constant change? You know, motion is perpetual. I have learned in that change is a product of human effort. And the first step toward change is awareness. I've come to learn to know through what I have gathered and listened to from what I consider to be wise people, individuals, that nature comes to awaken our consciousness, so that which brings forth awareness. And I have personally concluded that awareness is the beginning of time. The effort must be synthesized for a practical purpose, having a practical purpose. That is to readdress social diversity, moving from a persecuted minority to a privileged majority, from victim to victory. Building my tolerance level, meaning my approach to this is universal, which help build tolerance emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially, and religiously. Interpersonal development skills, training results into optimal problem solving skills. Solving immature problems with mature solutions. There was a lot there. In doing so, staying away from negative energy. And if I can, people that have a problem for every solution, incoherent and mentally incapacitated. The need is for capacity training in order to learn to facilitate how to readdress social diversity, moving from a persecuted minority to a privileged majority. It's about having the privilege to do the work, knowing that in any organized thoughts or organized structure, that mental labor precedes physical labor. It determines our accomplishments, failures, and limitations, as well as flow and blockages. What is required is demanded that I can personally subscribe to myself the removal of ignorance, indignant, indecent, fear, failure, folly, foolishness, frustration, chaos, confusion, and doubt. I want to say, and I'm going to say it from within, an environment of doubt is due to misgivings. Any situation I find myself in, I can handle it. That's what I was struggling with. I can handle it. That may sound a bit too much for some things. I may not be able to handle it. The only thing, I just must get a handle on it. And what is it? It is that which is reflective. That which is reflective. The attitude of the world and people who suffer from the resignation of fatalism, poverty, militarism, sexism, classism, fascism, racism, and war, and the impact and effect of the civil and uncivil interactions amongst people. And now, and then. They were then and how they are now, and what has become of it, this self-reflection. I live in an atmosphere of fatalism, racism, where ignorance, indignant, indecency, fear, failure, folly, foolishness, frustration, doubt, crime, corruption, chaos, confusion, evil, wickedness, where it seems as fairly good. How can you be fair when everybody else is cheating? What are my intentions? Not to hurt, harm, and endanger anyone. It is the motive behind it. The entire only motive for healing. Compassion. The antidote is the motive behind my intention, and that is to change my attitude. By liberating myself and healing myself, by being around and living in an atmosphere, surrounding myself with people that understand the importance of awakening each other's compassion. It is nurturing. It builds each other up and is encouraging, comforting, and healing. This desire of quest of mine is to first heal and liberate myself from the suffering, from the prevailing attitude, resignation of fatalism, poverty, militarism, sexism, classism, fascism, racism as well. I started off with chapter 9, how do I change my reality? I did not say that I had a verse on verse 1, verse 2, and verse 3. I just completed verse 3. But now I'm on verse 4. It's to liberate and heal others as well. I know some may say, be practical and realistic, or there is no hope. There is nothing new under the sun. We all need a morale booster to restart in the reawakening of the strength called compassion to gain momentum that will motivate and inspire those with whom we come in contact with. And may we learn to come in contact and knowing that we have possibly came in contact with ourselves, and that's the soul. To inspire those with whom we come in contact with, person to person, place to place, this initiating process plan of action and furthering will awaken one's compassion that will eradicate and eliminate once and for all one's inhumanity to humanity. Because a mean-spirited person is a cruel person, somewhat of a sadist who enjoys and find gratification in inflicting pain and humiliating others. Chapter 9, 1 through 4, it's all about reawakening the strength of one's compassion. Verse 5 through 21 is the foundation that I am going to build on in support of this systematic way of thinking of how I change my reality. The social, economic, cultural code of conduct is the foundation for our orientation, or for this orientation, as it pertains to how we do business with each other. I often said that adequate cooperation leads to proper communication, and that's how we effectively coordinate our power. We must not compromise our spiritual integrity nor jeopardize the social solidarity of the group. Our environment is safe and trusting, as well as becoming a being that is psychologically and physiologically centered grounded, where it conducts and instructs a reawakening of a reconnection and a realignment. I'm talking about the reawakening of one's strength called compassion, talking about how can I change my reality. Our environment is safe and trusting. We do not compromise our spiritual integrity. You must not compromise your spiritual, nor jeopardize the group's solidarity. Dealing with how we organize our thoughts. That is psychologically and physiologically centered, grounding, humble. This plane of existence is a grounding to keep us humble. Not only that, before we even came to existence, all of our beginnings are humble, whether we want to accept it or not, because it wasn't guaranteed that any of us was going to come out of that which had gave us birth. The reawakening of the strength called compassion, to motivate, the inspiration behind it, the intentions, as it conducts and instructs, a reordering or reconnection, a realignment, finding the balance, emotional and logic, the balance with self, the soul. In association, now we're dealing with an association now. How can I change my reality? Deal with the resignation of fatalism, poverty, militarism, sexism, classism, racism, and the impact that it has on our civil and uncivil, interactions of the past and the present and what has become of it. The reawakening of the strength that is in us called compassion. Just trying to find the centering of the logic and the emotions. And then the organization of our thoughts. These two in association. This is how one can associate with his or herself under this system of thinking or information that I am sharing. Is with the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba. This is the social, economic, cultural code of conduct. The foundation of this orientation. One, my brother Karinga. One, Umoja, unity. In reawakening the strength that is in us all called compassion. Organize our thoughts. In reference to how I change my reality. It's what I associate my thoughts or connect my thoughts with. And 2. Unity, we strive for the maintain unity in family, community, nation. Some would associate that with race. I know nothing is black or white. I'm talking about as far as when people use black and white as a race, it's just conceptual. It's not nothing biological. But I understand it. Which, remember how I organize my thoughts. How do I change my reality? How I organize my thoughts. And the reawakening of my the strength of compassion, and what it is associated with, and how I associate it with, if I may use that language in that manner, in that way. The realignment, the reconnecting. Do the social, economic, cultural code of conduct. The foundation, the first fruits, Nagusa Saba. It is to strive for the maintained unity in the family, community, nation, and race. 2. Kushachakali, the self-determination we seek collectively. It's collective now. To define ourselves, our names, create for ourselves, and speak well for ourselves. Self-advocacy. Even though I said we, but self-advocacy, which means to advocate that which has materialized. Collective work and responsibility. It's a responsibility. We seek to build and maintain our community. It's community. It's a community. Together, and make our brothers and sisters concerned to whatever is going on ours, and we try to solve whatever it is, a problem that they may be going through. We try to solve them together. Cooperative economic, we seek to build and maintain businesses or stores and shops, and to profit from them together. However, in a manner way in which you may profit from it, or may be a benefit from it, you may not necessarily benefit from it financially, but you may benefit it in other ways, And we got purpose. We seek to maintain our collective vocation in the building and developing of our, I forgot the names of Ujima, or then Ujama, then Nia's purpose in developing our community, building and developing our community. This is a how can I change? And yes, so we cannot make any excuse to fail to use that which is required upon us as our intelligence. Developing our community and do something, or help someone and realize the importance of not making any excuses for not doing so. And even when it comes to our decisions that we make. The reality that of it all is that we have to overcome a sense of low self-esteem. I just say we, but when I said I earlier, how do I change something that I am personally trying to overcome, as well as a weak intellect. Kuamba, creativity. We seek to do always as much as we can and the way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. All we got to do is just look at creation as well. When humans put their hands to it, they could mess something up. Imani, we seek to believe in all our heart and our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, in the righteousness and the victory of our struggle, the results of further establishing a degree of learning to have affection for discipline. For me, that's education. Continue on. I'm at verse 13 now. I'm not giving the verses, but further building on this support system. Maybe it could be a cultivation system, because I really believe in it here to cultivating the potential of knowledge that is in us all. That is the mandate of mine. Further establishing a safe and trusting environment. Verse 14, and further establishing the overcoming of negative perception and unhealthy perspectives. Verse 15, and further establishing non-judgmental reports by refraining from unnecessary criticism, operating in total compliance with the Nuguzu Saba, and further establishing positive reinforcers as what? As building blocks. Verse 17, and further establishing the sharing of one's common experiences. Verse 19, and further establishing healthy and productive conversations about your objectives, goals, dreams, aspirations, views, values, virtues, vices, and accomplishments by looking forward to the day to live in a harmonious whole. 19, verse 19, and further establishing honesty by being honest about our challenges, and further establishing provisions for concrete solutions. Broken men, broken people, broken women, broken humanity. The human experience is fragile. Here we go. This has always been the principle of ancient African cultivation system. You notice I mentioned that earlier. I just gave you just was setting everything up for this. When we do not adhere to the foundation of our cultural code of conduct, our social, economic, cultural code of conduct that is an association of the foundation of Nuguzu Saba, you or I act out of order, non-compliant, which is grounds for reprimand by the elders' council. The continue of this will be dismissal. When the pupil is ready, the teacher will appear. Dismissal of absence, or the act of creating something or even someone unworthy of serious consideration. Rejection. Verse 21. And further establishing with good intentions to get to know them and ourselves at another level. The seal of our thoughts. It is in this wise from the 10 principles of Dijahuti. The control of thought. When you control your thoughts, the stuff you used to do doesn't interest you anymore. When you control your thoughts, you don't allow others to validate you or validate you as a person. You must become comfortable in your skin. You will make those decisions, and you have no problem with telling others what you will not do, especially if it's not on the level of your spiritual walk or link back to the compliance with the Nuguzu Saba. Yes. Finding rest is your self-assurance. Steadfastness or purpose, which is equivalent to fortitude. which shows that you have what it takes to endure through the painful conditions, because you know at the end of the day you are in tune with the creative force of the cosmic energy, and the greatest force is success, and that is you. You are evidence of that success. That's why you are here. And if you are a good leader, see that the plans you make are carried out. Do great things which will be remembered long after you. I say for me, leadership is coordination. Coordinating the reawakening of the strength of one's compassion. How one's organize his or her thoughts. How do I change my reality? How do you change your reality? Real raw is how you treat yourself and how you treat others. Identify with the spiritual life. Anything that remains in its natural form and natural state is spiritual. The natural identity is one of affection. The attribute of it is equated with temperance or self-control. This is represented by the individual when he or she shows conquest by not allowing an unhealthy attitude to rule over them. It's just talking about leadership. So leadership is to restore people to their traditional greatness by nature. Being in an environment that is nurturing. You may have a facility that is such as that. Verse 25, evidence of having a mission in life would ensure the policy of cooperation, confidence, competence, honesty, and trust. And policy and principle is driven by interests. Evidence of a call to spiritual order, or the priesthood, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the two of it all is to have prudence, to be cautious, courteous, respectful, and vigilant, or having deep insight into the brilliance of our greatness. Still on the leadership. The primary call and the principle of freedom and justice and equality from the least contaminated, the least corrupted leader. In doing so, will give a message to display integrity, honor, dignity, confidence, and respect. Freedom from resentment. Leadership. Coordinating all this. Creating a nurturing environment. Confidence in the power or the master teacher. Confidence in one's ability to learn. We must trust in our teachers, and we must equally be confident that we can learn in this process of trusting each other. But we must also realize that that there are two. That we must understand the importance for that which is oppressing is ignorance. Oppressive is ignorance. Ignorance is the result of hostility, as if there's nothing else to be learned. The readiness or preparedness for the initiation, we want to prepare the ground, prepare the ground in the atmosphere to put into motion the business at hand, cultivating, modeling, and shaping. We must be ready for the initiation. Frederick Douglass was aware when he said in one presentation, it is easier to build strong children than to repair older men. Some people invest a lot of time hiding their inner weakness by overtly exaggerating their need for self-importance. Could be the enemy. Even though some say vanity is the enemy of consciousness. Well, what happens when you come to a point where is that you may not know what to do, you may be challenged. And you may become mentally incapacitated. When a person is mentally incapacitated, he or she doesn't understand the importance that the faculty that has been given to us is the ability to reason. Quality life, quality living. Leadership creates an environment, a nurturing environment that reawaken the strength of compassion in us, of a nurturing environment. We must learn to organize our thoughts in a nurturing way. And be around people who understand the importance of that. If not, what will manifest itself is a psychotic behavior. The aim is accountability. It is said that the African consciousness movement was developed partly from the ideas of Paul Coffey. Everyone ever heard of Paul Coffey? You look him up. We must be free from the objects of You must be free from the objects of No one is free until he or she has no need to impress anyone. Live life for a cause, not applause. Live life to express, not to impress. Self-importance is our greatest enemy, someone wrote. Think about it. What weakens us is feeling offended by the deeds and misdeeds of our fellow men. Our self-importance requires that we spend most of our lives offended by someone. Self-importance, when you feel important, you lose energy to the wear and tear of ego. I'm to say this in closing. Welcome home, huh? What does that home look like? Is it one of compassion? Is it one of a nurturing spirit? Does it cultivate that nurturing spirit? Does it empower, encourage, inspires, enlighten, and informs? Is it a association with the first fruits, Nagusa Saba? Is it a collective community? Knowing that before there is organization, you must first have cooperation. There you have your corporation. The leadership. Trends, principles, institutions, culture, customs, and leadership. Dislocation, wars, pillage, corruption, abuse on all levels, unable to find him or herself in this plane of existence called Earth. Ah, man. Psychosocial integration, interdependent sense of identity, oneness with nature, connection to divine spirit, wholeness. The messenger can only deliver the message to those who are at a vibrational match to the message. So don't stress yourself out saying things to people who can't hear you yet. Just because the construction is over, it does not mean that the air is clean. Give to the gift of social literacy. Until next time.